wouldn't you? So, if you do win an award tonight, don't use it as a platform to make a political speech, right? You're in no position to lecture the public about anything. You know nothing about the real world. Most of you spent less time in school than Greta Thunberg. So, if you win, right, come up, accept your little award, thank your agent and your God, and
Before I get started today, I'd like to kindly ask that you smash the like button and please subscribe to the channel for more content just like this. So 2020 was a pretty crazy year, but from a movie standpoint, it's been batshit insane.
Now you want to get nuts? Come on, let's get nuts.
At the start of 2020, I was going to the movie theater probably more than I'd ever gone before, thanks to my Regal Unlimited pass. Like, I would go weekly no matter what came out, so basically I was watching a lot of shitty movies just for content for this channel. And then COVID happened, and I was suddenly limited to the amount of movies that I could watch. Ironically, the channel had one of its best years ever after that, but my point is that through all this, I wasn't going to do a best of and worst of video this year, because it honestly felt like I just didn't see enough movies. But as I was going through my reviews earlier in the year, there was a lot of stuff that I forgot that I watched. So in the interest of being consistent, because I've done this every year that the channel has existed, this is the best and worst of movies in 2020. It should be noted also that I didn't see every single movie that was released this year, so if I don't mention something that you liked, no one's perfect. So I'm going to run through a few categories in this video, the first being the most overrated movie of the year. Now, if you spend any time on this channel, you'll realize that I'm a very honest person. And I don't follow trends at all, and I like what I like, and I dislike what I dislike. And to be brutally honest, one thing I don't like is most Spike Lee movies.
Fuck you!
That's why Da 5 Bloods is my most overrated movie of 2020. The reality for me and how I see things is that Spike Lee is kind of a one-trick pony. Every single movie that he makes has these racial themes throughout it, and I keep wondering when he's going to try something new. And that doesn't mean just switching genres, but also making it about race. I think he's capable of making something unique, but he seems to refuse to. This movie is getting a lot of praise and Oscar buzz, but I just really can't stand these overly preachy social agenda type movies, especially when they come off shallow in the way that this movie does. Considering the subject matter, I just expected this to be a better story, because it's a story that hasn't been told and probably should be told. The next category is the biggest disappointment of the year. And sadly, this has to go to Bad Boys for Life. I love Bad Boys 1 and 2. They're two of the best buddy cop / action movies of all time.
Man, you don't sit your lanky ass down. Bottom line, I will knock you the fuck out.
But something felt a bit off to me about the third entry. We know that Will Smith and Martin Lawrence have chemistry based on the first two movies, so why is it that all their interactions in this movie felt extremely forced? It probably lends itself to bad writing. Also, I didn't like the attempt to give Mike Larry a backstory. He's kind of like Han Solo to me, like we know enough about him, we don't really need you to reveal more about how he came to be who he is. When you reveal too much, it kind of takes away from his mystique, and I just didn't like that. This movie actually made me miss Michael Bay, which is something that I thought I would never say. The next category is most surprising movie. I had zero expectations going into this movie. After all, Universal has unsuccessfully been trying to reboot the Universal Monsters series for some time now, but this modern retelling of this classic character really worked for me. And they really managed to keep the gothic undertones, which I thought was really kind of clever. It has great acting, genuine moments of tension, and I really think this should be the blueprint for Universal Monster movies moving forward. Now we come to the two biggest awards. I'll start with the negative, and it's worst movie of the year. So early in 2020, when I was still going to the movie theater, there was this string of really bad horror movies that I went to see.
That is one big pile of shit.
All of them were completely forgettable, and I honestly didn't remember most of them until, like I said, I went back and looked at some of my reviews from early in the year. There was The Turning, there was Gretel and Hansel, both of which could have been in consideration for this, but I'm going to give it to The Grudge reboot, remake, or sequel, whatever you want to call it. I titled the review for this movie, Everything Wrong with Modern Horror, and if you watch it, you know exactly why. This was easily the most generic and bland horror movie that I think I've seen all year, maybe ever. If you're trying to revitalize a franchise, at least make sure you have a new, interesting take on it. Don't just try to give me a half-assed version of the original movie, but set in America. It had horrible characters, horrible pacing. It was filled with cheap jump scares. This was my first video review of 2020, and it might have been my first video review ever. And it really started me off on a low note. So I should have known right away that 2020 was going to be a problem. And now we've arrived to the big award, the best movie of the year, according to me. This was the hardest that I ever had to think about this category, because this year was so chaotic and so muddled that I couldn't really think of anything that actually stood out to me when I attempted to make this video. But if there's one person in Hollywood that I can count on to give me an original idea, and his name is not Tarantino, it's Christopher Nolan.
We happy? Yeah, we happy.
So by that rationale, Tenet is going to be my movie of the year. Tenet was the first movie I saw when theaters opened briefly in the middle of COVID, so that in itself made it kind of exciting. But I just remember being highly impressed with the way that Nolan continues to be able to deliver these high-concept blockbusters, something that people just don't do anymore. It's a movie that will require multiple viewings for you to truly grasp what's going on, and you can't help but wonder how he managed to create all of them in the way that he did. It plays with some different genres, everything from sci-fi to spy movies. You just know you're going to see something unique when you watch a Nolan movie, and Tenet is no exception to that. It's definitely a movie I'm going to look forward to breaking down some more for years to come. So that's my best and worst of 2020. Let me know what yours are in the comments down below. As always, please like, comment, share, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell for notifications, and I'll see you next time right here on Real Shift. Thanks for watching. Peace out.
Y'all be cool. Right on.